students and degree students so that when they go for jobs, they don't get rejected. We teach the basics like Excel, Doc, ChatGPT, how to market, the basics we teach. Because most of them cannot afford computers and they have no access to them. And similarly, we have something called celebrations. Celebrations is celebrating your loved ones on their anniversaries, on their birthdays, on their death anniversaries. You could contribute to any of the causes that Vishwa showcases on its platform, vishwa.org. You could, Annadanam for instance. There are a lot of people across the country who, when they go to hospitals, they come up from far-off regions and they little money they have, they keep it aside for the treatment of the patient. They sleep on platforms, they hardly eat anything. And we give them food every afternoon on Fridays, and it makes a lot of difference. There are similar such fundraisers. Please feel free to celebrate your loved ones with any of these causes.
Vishwa's commitment towards zero waste and the long way to go in achieving the goal begins with our material donation drive. Conducted twice a year during Diwali and Ugadi in Hyderabad, this drive collects clothes, books, toys and other used or semi-used items for the underprivileged. Contributions from over 615 plus families have benefited around 2,800 individuals, providing essential items and support, bringing hope and dignity to them. Through these efforts, we transform the waste of some into the treasure of others, promoting sustainability and community welfare.
Namaste everyone. A very good morning and welcome to Vishwa Talks. My name is Prerna. Thank you all for attending today's event on Zoom and to those watching on YouTube Live. For those of you who have attended a Vishwa Talks before, a warm welcome back. And for our new joiners, here's a bit about Vishwa Talks. Vishwa Talk is here to create awareness amongst people and to protect our social heritage and to let people make their own decisions. Here we invite experts to discuss and explore diverse opinions, different perspectives, various issues, problems, and their solutions on various fields, including art and culture, heritage, environment, education, and many more. So far, we have covered over 210 plus talks. Each webinar is an interactive session with a deeper understanding of the topic at hand. If you miss any part of the session, if you would like to go through the previous session, please visit our website or Vishwa Talks YouTube channel for a full library of the past Vishwa Talks on interesting topics. Today, it's a privilege to welcome Mr. Prasanna Adusumilli, an accomplished IT leader with a robust background in mechanical engineering and extensive experience in the technology sector. He began his career in India, where he learned a degree in mechanical engineering. Following his graduation, he ventured into financial industry in the Cayman Islands, gaining valuable insights and skills that would shape his future career. Later, he moved to the US, where he held leadership roles at IBM and Kyndryl, strengthening his expertise in technology and strategic management. Alongside his corporate career, Prasanna is passionate about entrepreneurship and environmental sustainability, having initiated a common effluent treatment plant, CETP, to support cleaner industry practices. He now balances life between the US and India while continuing to drive professional, entrepreneurial, and community-focused initiatives. As we dive into today's interesting discussion, I would like to inform the audience that our speaker will be taking questions from you after our main talk. So please leave your questions in the chat box or raise hand tool, and we will allow you to ask your question in person. I request everyone to turn on your webcam for interactive activities. Request you to keep the questions concise and short. Kindly ask one question at a time so that other participants can interact too. Please limit the interaction part to questions, and you can share your experiences, opinions, and perspectives in the chat box throughout the session. So without further ado, let's welcome Mr. Prasanna Adusumili as he shares his inspiring journey and valuable insights into smart effluent management understanding, CETPs and ETPs. So please.
Thanks a lot, Prerna, for the wonderful intro. So I don't know, how the audience is. I see a good number of participants here. So I don't know their expertise, but I would like to start off from the basics as to what an effluent is, what a treatment plant is, how it affects us, and what are the pros and cons on, of these treatment plants. Rakesh, can you start sharing the screen, please? Rakesh, can you share the presentation, please? So basically, let's start off with, I just want to, guide you through what is a effluent treatment plant, what is a common effluent treatment plant, what is an effluent, etc. So go to the next slide, Rakesh. So basically, let's start off with the basics as to, what an effluent is, okay? Webster tells us that, effluent is any output of anything coming out of a byproduct of anything is called an effluent. But in industrial terms, it's like, the effluent is an outflow of any byproduct which comes out of an industry. Okay, it can be something out of your drainage. It can be something out of the industry. It can be something out of coming out of the drilling industry and things like that. So the effluent can range from minimum toxicity to large toxicity, where it can affect, there are multiple pollutants involved in it. It can be biodegradable, it can be gases and things like that. So let's see, how these are affecting us, how we're going to treat them and things like that. Next slide, Rakesh. So thing is, there are different, basically in this, today we'll go through the effluents which comes out of the industrial sector, the industries, the pharmaceutical industries, the textile industries, the paint industries, etc. So in this slide, you will see what kind of industries produce, what kind of pollutant, okay? For example, if you take the paint industry, all that you get is high dosage of mercury, lead, which can, cause great impact on your mental health, your psychological health, the neurological health and things like that. So the textile industries has a lot of alkalines which come out of it, so which affect the aquatic life, in the river, in the rivers, ponds, and seas. And the petrol and chemical industries are the more petrochemical industries are the most toxic. They give out things like ammonia, sulfates, the non-biodegradable pollutants, which cause great damage to our industry. Sorry, great damage to our environment. Rakesh, next slide, please. So basically, you might be wondering, how does these effluents affect us, or affect the society and the environment and in general? Okay. So what happens is the effluents, once they come out of the industry, they need to have a place to be discharged. Okay. Normally, what used to happen is all these are discharged into the river bodies, the lakes, or the sea. And what it causes is, the unchecked discharge of these is going to cause huge damage to us, so the aquatic life in the rivers are going to be affected. So for example, if you're passing through a river or a pond, a lot of times you see foam coming out of the rivers, you see foam on the ponds, you see a lot of pungent smell coming out. So all this is because of all the pollutants, which are being released into our water bodies. Apart from the water bodies, what happens is these pollutants reach the water table, which is under, the water table where, we have all the underground water, which we try to, pull out from the soil. So once these are affected, these are irreversible damages caused to our environment. So for example, if you're putting in a sump and you're trying to get water out of the water table, what's going to happen is you're going to get colored water, which has a lot of chemical waste. I know it's so once it reaches that level, it can never be treated. There's no way you can treat that. So that's the reason, it's important we take care of this ahead of time before they affect us or they affect the environment directly. So these pollutants, right? They are biodegradable pollutants, and they're non-biodegradable pollutants. They're chemicals. So we'll go through these, and see, how to treat them. Rakesh, next slide. So these can be broken down into different industries has different kind of pollutants coming out. Okay, so a small industries like a mechanical industry or a simple electronics industry, right? So they also create pollutants. Okay, but they are not highly toxic. Those we call it as the low TDS, and the highly toxic stuff we call the high TDS. So there are different ways and different methods of treating a low TDS and high TDS pollutant. So there's a new technology, which also we also call it a zero level discharge ZLD plants, where there's no byproduct that comes out of it. All that any effluent, which goes in, is evaporated, and we get a zero discharge out of it. So we'll go through each level of treatment on each of these things. Rakesh, next slide. So let's drive into what is the history of the CETPs and ETPs. Okay, back in the days, in the early 70s, there's no government policy as to how the effluent needs to be treated. So many chemical industries, which come out, they used to just discharge the pollutant into our water streams, into the rivers. So if you see the highly polluted rivers like Ganga or Yamuna, where you see all toxic things, these are the pollutants which come out of these industries. So in the early 80s, government said, okay, we got to address this concern, and we got to come up with a policy on how to get this streamlined. So what they did was they started creating policy. The main ministry which was involved is the Ministry of Environment and Forests. It's also called Minister of Environment and Forests and Climate Change right now, but in those days it's only MOEF. So they came up with a policy where uh, they set up discharge parameters as to so for example, if there's a discharge of 15,000 TDS coming out of a plant, you don't know whether it's toxic or not, right? So they came up with industry standards as to what is toxic and what is not toxic. So they came up with parameters as to which level of toxicity can be released into our water stream. So when they started this, they also started giving clearances as to for the industries as to what they can discharge into our environment. So the numbers are so once the policy is set, they came to understand that, right? A lot of industry are not able to comply with this because to set up an ETP, it's a very expensive process. So small and medium scale industries, I know they don't have the capacity to set up these plants. So the government came up with a policy for a CETP, which is a common effluent treatment plant, where you have a group of companies, or an industrial estate, where a common treatment plant is set up, and all the industries from the estate send their effluent to that treatment plant where they're treated. So one of the first treatment plant, CETP, was set up in, I think, 1984 in Rajasthan. And after that, these policies have matured a lot in recent times. And the government also started funding some of these effluent treatment plants, and they started giving subsidies to them. Uh, So over the period of time, right? So number of CETPs have mushroomed across the country in different industrial regions. As of now, from what I recall, there are about 180, 190 CETPs running in the country. 120 or 130 of them are compliant as per CP central PCB norms and state PCB norms. Some of them are not compliant and they're shut down. But government is actively monitoring all these CETPs. Uh, Rakesh, next slide, please. So the controlling authorities for the CETP and ETPs are the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. And these are monitored actively by the Central Pollution Control Board and the State Pollution Control Boards. So as of now, what I see is, last 10, 15 years, they have been very actively being involved in this. They're setting up new standards to make sure, all the industries are compliant. New standards like monitoring tools, inlet monitoring parameters, outlet monitoring parameters, which are centrally uh, connected to the central PCB board and the state PCB board. And once these parameters are not met, there are alarms which come up, there are notices which go out, and things like that. I see this both the central PCB and the state PCB very actively monitoring and following up on these. Next slide, please. So as I was telling before, why do we need these CETPs, right? So because many industries, they can't set up the effluent treatment plant. It's a very expensive proposition. And, you need dedicated people running the ETPs. So for a normal small company, which can't afford the ETPs, the CETPs is the way to go. So there are about 300,000 small scale industries, which are registered in India right now. Out of them, around 65, 66,000 are in need of a treatment plant where they give out effluents, they output effluents. And a majority of them, at least around 60,000 of them are right now registered with the pollution control boards and, actively sending out effluents to these treatment plants. So the benefits is that you don't have to run your treatment plant by yourself. It's a centralized unit where you just pay as you use a process where you send out the effluent, and there's a particular charge for the KL of effluent treated, and you pay the treatment agency, whatever your monthly charge is, and all the costs are shared across the industry. And also, you don't have to worry about the compliance because the CETP itself handles the compliance part, and the industry herself can, outsource it to the CETP. Next slide, Rakesh. So the major industries, which are giving out toxic effluents are the textile industry. You must be wondering why there are a lot of textile industries in the Asian countries. If you look at US, for example, right, US does not involve itself in textile industry because that is one of the most polluting industry. I think it's worse than a pharmaceutical industry. So what US did is it didn't want to affect its environment, so they outsourced it, or maybe we can call it dumped it to the Asian countries. As of now, the whole textile industry is run in India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Vietnam, Thailand, and US is the end user of all the the textiles which come out of it. These textiles and bleaching units are toxic. In India, if you see, Tiruchur is one of the area where these industries survive. And the treatment of these textile effluent is, is a very cumbersome process. And central PCB has been very strict with these, and they are strictly monitoring these and making sure the standards are met. So if you look at it, right, there are special economic zones set up for each industry. Say for a pharmaceutical industry has an SEZ, a textile industry has an SEZ. So government is setting up these common treatment plants for new SEZs, where the delivery of the effluent from the industry to the CETP is efficient. Because there are some challenges when you are sending out effluent to the CETP. So there are multiple ways of sending it out. One is through the pipelines, dedicated pipelines. All the new industrial estates coming up with a, prefab setup, a drainage system where the treatment effluent is sent out. But typically, in the older industrial estates, right, you use a tanker, a dedicated tanker, which you fill it up and send it to the treatment plant where it is tested and accepted. Rakesh, next slide, please. So a treatment plant can go from a simple plant to a complex design. It depends upon the effluent which is being released in that particular area. Uh, the the common things which are monitored here are the COD, which is the chemical oxygen demand. With the BOD, the biochemical oxygen demand, the dissolved salts, the pH, and the other toxicants which come in, like the sulfur content, the ammonia content, things like that. And the design is also based upon the amount of effluent the industries are going to generate. Okay, for example, if the total effluent coming out of that particular industrial area is about, say, 1 mld or 2 mld, so the design is based upon that, and uh, the capacity of the treatment plant is also based upon that. The permissions also given upon that, because whenever, say for example, we have a 2 mld plant, the equalization tanks, the acceptance tanks, the guard ponds, all of them are based upon the inflow from the industry. Rakesh, next slide, please. So let's typically see, what is the treatment process in a CETP. Okay, there are different levels of treatment, which happen. Different parameters are affected at different levels. Okay, so initially when we accept the effluent, right, we basically ask dump it into we call it a grit pond, where what we do the initial screening, where if there are any solid waste like stones or leaves which are in that, we try to settle that about and remove that in the initial stage, because once it gets to the next stage, there are motors which are involved, they might get damaged and things like that. So in the initial screening, we remove all the solid particles, which are part of that effluent which comes out. After that, we send the effluent to the equalization tank. So in the equalization tank, what happens is we let the effluent settle down, and there are blowers, strong blowers which will blow out the effluent. So any of toxic gases at that point are basically released out of that effluent, and they come out of the effluent. And also in the equalization tank, so we get effluent from different industries, right? So the toxicity is different, the parameters are different, but all of them are mixed into one. So at this point, we try to stabilize, and equalize it at that level, so that the next level of treatment is pretty stable. So after this, right, we send this to a tank where other coagulants like alum is added. So once the alum is added, right, what alum does is it tries to some of the effluent, it coagulates it, and makes it a solid substance, which can be removed from from the effluent. So once at this point, that part is done, and and it is pushed, the remaining effluent is pushed to the next one. So there are anaerobic and non-anaerobic pollutants in the effluent. So at this point, what we do is we release media into the effluent, which media can be yeast, media can be bacteria. I see we also release cow dung at some point, where it tries to oxidize some of these biological parameters and release them into the waste container which is in there. So after this stage, we take it to a filtration process where any of these solids, after all the coagulation and other parts, right, a lot of solids come out there too. So any of that is filtered out there, and pretty much a pH neutral kind of effluent comes out of that at that stage, and we settle that in the settlement tanks where a pretty pH neutral, non-toxic water it comes out of it, and the sludge is settled down at the bottom of the settlement tank. So this sludge, can you go to the next slide, Rakesh? So the sludge which comes out, right? There are ways of treating that sludge too, because that sludge is highly toxic and it can't be released. So what we do is we separate the water at this stage from the sludge. So the sludge also has a certain amount of water which is in there. So that is dried up using the dryers. That is packaged and sent to the landfill, or as of now we are trying to reuse that sludge. Some of the cement industries are using the sludge if there's enough calorific value in it. So recently, we last couple of years we are sending a lot of sludge to the cement industry, a lot of sludge to the power industry where they're burning it to generate electricity. So any of the remaining sludge which does not have a calorific value, we send it to the landfill. So there are ways where there are huge landfills created where the water is not, or the sludge is not allowed, uh, which is what I could say is, there is a lot of concrete which is used so that the sludge does not enter into our water streams. So that there are there are people like Ramki, big industries like Ramki handle that kind of disposal. So the best practices in this is that we have continuous monitoring of your pH, TDS, and the COD and BOD are the oxygen demand and the biological demand, oxygen demands. So when during the inlet process, right, as an industry, there are some tests which are done before accepting the effluent. We make sure that the effluent is meets those standards before we let it in. And there are automated monitoring tools which we use at the inlets and the outlets also. So all these, as I said before, all these monitoring tools are connected to the central PCP and the state PCP. So if these standards are not met, there are alarms which are triggered, and notices which are sent out by the Pollution Control Board. So the operational best practices, what we do is, we plan based upon the demand. Okay, so let's say, for example, if you have a 5 MLD coming in, we make sure that our capacity is more, at least, more than 80-90%, and we don't have effluent which is waiting to be treated. So that all comes as part of the planning. So we also need to do a routine maintenance of the aeration tanks, the equalization tanks, the settling tanks, and we need to desludge, because some of the sludge goes to the bottom and it gets stuck there. So we need to plan properly. We need to have backup equalization tanks so that there is some maintenance which can happen to. And we at the CETP, right? We usually have standard practices which are documented. So any new employee who comes out, any operators they come out, they follow the SOPs to the T. Otherwise, it's very hard to maintain these standards. So next slide, Rakesh. So I already talked about the sludge management, right? Okay, this sludge is very toxic, and usually we send it to the landfill. And as of now, we are after dewatering and bagging this. We are also sending it to uh, the cement industry as well as the power industry, depending upon the calorific value. So and pollution control board also tracks how these sludge is generated, how much sludge is generated. So what is the how much, because we have certain numbers as to if we have 1 mld of effluent which is treated, we are going to get say 1 ton of sludge. There are some industry standard numbers. Central PCB also tracks this just to make sure that the treatment is done properly. Next slide, Rakesh. Yeah, we talked about this. The CPCP and the state PCB, they track the COD, BOD, the metal content in the effluent, the pH, the color. As of now, they're also even tracking the air quality around the CETPs, because a lot of toxic gases are coming out of this. And if you look at this, right, you see a lot of newspaper articles where people say that we are able to there is some odor coming out of these industrial areas. There are toxic gases coming out. They are feeling nauseated. So all this is because of the toxic gases coming out of the industries. Yeah. So government, right? So a lot of these CETPs are some of them are cooperative CETPs where the industries come together and set up a common plant. There are CETPs where private players set it up on a model set up by the government, but the regulatory is regulation and regulatory framework and compliance is done by the Minister of Environment, PCB, central and state PCB. So the funding model for these is from government grant. As far as the cooperative one goes, it is industries which fund them. They form a society, and they fund these treatment plants. And there is also public-private partnership where the government gives subsidy, part subsidy for that, and then private players, set up these plants. Next slide, Rakesh. Yeah, there are a lot of challenges, when it comes to running these plants. The major challenges are whether the industries are sending the effluent or not, okay, and how they are sending, and for example, let me give an example, right? So there is I won't give out names, but there's a effluent treatment plant where about 250 sign. So it's mandatory for the industries to sign up because they won't get an operating license. They call it a CFO. They say, I will generate about 100 KL per month, a small industry. But, they only send about 1 KL per month for treatment. So what's happening to the next 99 KL? Okay. So the PCB actively follows up on this, but the challenge is to make sure the industry sends it out to the for treatment. And uh, practically, there are a lot of industries which don't send out, and PCB handles them. But I don't want to go into details of that. But the result of that, industries not being non-compliant is, the odor which comes out, the groundwater which gets toxic, the water table is is toxic. The rivers are toxic. So we got to be, as citizens, right? We also need to look out to these, and make sure such things don't happen, or we complain or we raise our voice. Otherwise, our next generation is going to be affected by this. Next slide. Yeah. So we went through this, right? The reason for setting up the CETPs is cost effectiveness, a lot of control for the government agencies, and we give an option, we give a platform for small industries, to be compliant. Next slide. Yeah. So this is a very important topic for not only us, for a lot of for our next generation too. So when I see a lot of companies being non-compliant, I know what is happening with all the effluent there, and it's very sad that I can't do a lot about it, but I try to bring it up with the PCB, send them out notices, and tell them which industry is not compliant, which industry is compliant, so that they can take action. So I think people like you, who are interested, who want to do something for the environment, for the humankind, you should also be active and try to, stop anything which you see which is non-compliant. Thank you. I think I talked enough. I'll hopefully, it gave some insight as to how this industry runs. I hope I'm of some use here.
Wonderful, Andy. Namaste, Andy. So happy that you are here sharing about the effluent plants. See, before I move into the second half, we will be moving on to a Q&A session. I'd like to take just 30 seconds of your time for a quick poll. This will help us get to know each of you better and tailor our future topics that we bring to you. A big thank you to everyone today. Your presence and participation means a lot to us. And you have made this webinar a really participative awareness program. Vishwa, when it started moving into zero waste, we did a workshop. We've invited people across Hyderabad to come. Around 1,000 people had applied, and we'd picked up around 100 people who were very genuinely concerned about our environment, wanted to do something about it. And we had a conversation. When we had this conversation, we were looking at solutions on how to make Hyderabad a zero waste as an example. So then we've divided, all of us put together, 100 of us put together, we had a design thinking workshop, and we divided it into verticals, individuals, housing communities, commercial organizations. It could be offices, it could be restaurants, it could be function halls, industries, medical waste, construction waste. So already Vishwa has done more than 10 talks on this topic, on the topic of environment. Now, I wanted someone to talk about industry. And when I had come across Prasanna, and he said he was running an effluent plant, I had invited him to talk. See, Vishwa is a common man's talk, where you and me, people like you and me who are getting together and discussing what's happening on the ground level. So it was wonderful to have Mr. Prasanna come and talk to us. Thank you once more for immediately accepting my invite and talking about it, Andy. We'll be moving into our question and answer session now. Shmel, would you like to ask your question? Please unmute yourself and come on video.
Yeah, thank you very much. You hear me?
Yes.
I can.
Okay, thank you very much. Very interesting presentation. And I want to ask you a question. How CETP approach in treatment in water pollution on poor and low socioeconomic groups of population? What impacts of all this on poor and low socioeconomic groups of population?
Sorry, Shumal, you know,
Can you repeat it? Make it short and repeat it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. I asked how what impacts of CTP on poor and low economic groups of population.
What?
Shumal, can you type in the question, please? No, I'm not able to understand.
Yeah, I will type in the chat.
Sure, thank you.
Okay. So until then, I have a question. And you have said that there is a regulatory framework. You said there is the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, the Central Pollution Control Board. Do we also have the state pollution control boards and the national green tribunals and the local bodies. But how effective are the local bodies and the national green tribunal, Andy?
To be frank, Andy, I can say they're better than what they were 10 years back.
Okay.
Okay, so I think it's because of the push from the Supreme Court to follow, and there are a lot of if you look at it right recently, if you the Bajpalli area, if you look at the news in Hyderabad, okay, there is huge order which is coming out, and people are complaining from the past 2-3 weeks. It is because of pollutants being released out, and so what happens is, right, okay, let me be candid, okay, a lot of industries, they don't comply, okay, they don't send effluent. What they do is they dump it out in the open, or they dump it down in the drains, okay, and which directly affects you. If you're walking past a drain, that smell is you are inhaling, some sulfur, or ammonia, or some, it is going to affect you. How effective it is, effective than before, but I think there's a lot more which can be done.
Yeah. Okay. Ramchandran Garu, please ask your question.
Yeah, thanks, Prasanna, for the presentation. The presentation looked like very generic one. I'm sure you are handling certain locations, certain industries. Though you didn't want to mention the names, but it would be good to know what kind of industry, without naming, you are actually handling, and there is an enterprise dimension that you indicated. How is that operating as an enterprise? Selling to cement industry was mentioned there, but as an effluent, I'm sure treated water is being used as a commodity. Some economics of that and your actual experience. I think it is too generalized. Talk some specifics of your experience would make it very interesting.
Sure, Ramchandra. So this is a huge topic, Andy. So because if you talk about this CETP, right, it's a huge topic if you go into details, right? So I had just 30 minutes, so I wanted to keep it generic. But so for your question, right? So the industries which normally adhere to send effluent to the CETP are food industry. From my experience, right? So I run the treatment plant in Nacharam and Mallapur, okay, to be specific. Okay, so my plant is a 2 MLD plant. Okay, so typically the CETPs range. Majority of the CETPs are below 5 MLD. Okay, so initially we were supposed to have a 80% capacity when we set this up, but as of now we are running about a 25% capacity. For a 2 MLD plant. So the initial plan when we set up the 2 MLD plant was to expand it to an 8 MLD plant. Okay, so we had scope to expand to 8 MLD, but we're not even getting enough effluent to run this 2 MLD plant. Okay, so the industries are food industry. There are small pharma companies which send it out. Okay, and there are electronics and manufacturing industries which send out only. So as of now, there are about 250 industries which are signed up with us. And we have about 150 industries sending, 100 industries not sending. So, and 100 industries not sending, but they have a CFO, but for operating, right, they got to present that they have certain effluent which they had to sign up with us. But there are about 100 industries which are not sending. So I don't say that all of them are non-compliant. Some of them might be shut down. Some of them might be not operating, and things like that. But it's for the PCB to handle that. We usually give the list to PCB on a monthly basis, and they take care of it. So as far the other part of your question, India, and what you do with the water which comes out, right? So some of that use for gardening, and some of that is left to Musi. We have a pipeline which goes to Musi. We have a guard pond. From the guard pond, we release it to the Musi River. But the parameters at the outlet are strictly monitored by PCB, and there's also a statutory which came out that we need to send this to an STP where it is again treated. Output from us is again treated and left to that. But we are working out through some challenges around that, but it will be done.
Please, Ramchandra, please unmute in case you want to say it.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing these details. Also, experiences of non-compliance in a broad way. Are there, any biological treatments that enzymes are used? And I found that enzymes are more effective than chemical treatments. Do you have any such expertise or experience?
Yeah. One of the process, right, after the equalization tank, after the coagulation where alum is added, the next phase, it is where the enzymes are added, the bacteria is added. So the media varies based upon the kind of chemical we get, kind of effluent we get. But so the thing is, I'm not an expert in that. I know recently we also started using cow dung as an enzyme in one of the treatments. But based on the effluent, we changed the media which is being used.
Thanks. Mr. Himanshu, please.
Good afternoon. Hello, madam, and hello.
So
Nice
glad
to have. So, just I wanted to share the experience also. I also have dealt with 2-3 CETPs. So, just wanted to share my experience regarding I was consultant to one of the tannery, so which was a member of the common CETPs. It was near Kanpur. So we had a lot of problem actually with this CTP actually. First of all, actually we had about 30-40 members of that CTP, and they were discharging their effluent into the CTP, and that was treated actually. The first problem was actually tanneries like have that chrome. Mainly the problem is with the chrome. They do the chrome tanning, and chrome is basically is a very highly toxic substance. So when they were supposed to do the chrome treatment by themselves, they are not supposed to discharge the chromium effluent into the CETP. So, but still we have found that a lot of industries are still not treating up to the mark, and they are discharging it into the CTP, and that's why it is not working properly. So CTP, even though it is not designed, but still a lot of chrome effluent is coming, a lot of toxic effluent is coming, and very difficult to control that. To each and every industry, you cannot control 30 industries, and so that was creating a lot of problem. Secondly, I'll just come. Secondly, a lot of people are not sharing. Even the most of the we got the grant mostly from the central government. We got the grant for this construction of CTP. We got the grant from state government also. We got the land free of cost also. So all these things were there, but still there is an operational cost. So even that cost, it is very difficult to get the operational cost from the industries. So these are the two main challenges which I have faced in case of CTP. So, what is your opinion in these type of cases?
So
absolutely,
absolutely, Himanshu, what you said is absolutely true. So that's the reason, right? So, for example, your first thing which you said, the chromium, is being let in the effluent, right? So normally
Yeah.
what we do is there are two ways of accepting the effluent. Okay, one is through the pipelines. Okay, the second one is through tankers. Okay, so the problem which you are telling happens when you accept it through the pipelines, because you don't know which industry is sending out which kind of effluent, because it all comes to the common pipeline and everything is mixed up, and you don't have control as to accept or reject an effluent. Okay, so here in our case, right, we have a pipeline, but we specifically rejected it and we are accepting it, the effluent, only through tankers. So when the tanker comes in, right, we do a basic test as to the COD, BOD, as well as ammonia and other things. In our case, right, it's not tanneries here. So our major problem is with ammonia. So it's very hard to treat ammonia, and it also messes up the other parameters. So what we do is, any tanker which comes with ammonia, we reject it. So and as of now, the manifest of accepting and rejecting is also online. So as soon as we reject it, okay, it goes to the state PCB. So the PCB will actually track what is happening with the tanker, whether they're taking it back, fixing it, sending it, or they're sending it somewhere else or dumping it. They will handle it. But we won't let that into our CETP. So we rejected it at that point. So that solves the first problem.
Actually, this tanker system is good for a small quantity of effluent. If suppose it is 100 or 200 kl, then it is not practically possible to send 200 kl of effluent by tankers.
No,
So
there, there is a
generally
solution for
people.
that. There's a solution
Okay.
for that. What we do is, we ask them to set up say storage tanker within their industry. So they store it at their level. So once it reaches say 5 kl or 10 kl, the tanker usually is 10 kl, 20 kl.
Yeah.
There's a request from PCB to even get smaller tankers for 5 kl for smaller industries, which we are doing as of now. So as soon as say for example, if they have a 1 kl discharge, so once they reach, they have a storage tank which they put in within the industry. So once they have 5 kl, which is accumulated, they send the tanker to us. So that is one solution for your problem.
I'm talking about 100 or 200 kl, not about 5 kl is okay. You can
So
send.
100
But
and 200
suppose there
kl.
are so many industries which is having 100 or 200 kl.
So
So
then,
they cannot send it 20 tankers a day. That is the problem.
yeah. So at that point, right, so our maximum capacity is 20 kl a tanker.
So
So
small.
we got to send five tankers at a time.
Okay.
Uh, what about the ammonium nitrate? There's a question here from Mr. Praveen Kumar Manchukonda. Sir, how do we reduce ammonium nitrogen in pharma effluents? Is there any separate technology available? Please let us know.
Yes, the thing is, there are two ways of treating this, right? So one is the regular way, which the CETP does. So for the ammonia and other things, the only way to treat is using a ME operator, where high TDS effluent is treated. So ME is what is this? There are two technologies there. Okay, these are the ZL zero level discharge plants, right? The MEE plants are the multi-effect evaporator plants, okay, where the effluent is burnt, okay, it's burnt, and the sludge which comes out of it is sent to landfill. But all the gases, which will be released, they are not released into the air, but they are released into a controlled environment where it's treated and then discharged. So the thing is, I don't exactly know the whole process as to how it is done, but I know it is done at a ME level plant. And the technology and how to operate is completely different from a CETP.
Would you like to answer that, Mr. Himanshu?
Yeah. Basically, the ammonia is basically treated by stripping method, actually. Actually, there is a sort of spray that is done from the top like a scrubber, and air is passed through this. So because of that stripping of the effluent, all the ammonia will be completely taken out of that. effluent. The stripping technology is the best technology for treating the ammonia. However, the ZLD is basically that whatever ME you are talking of, that is for the high TDS effluent.
Right.
If the effluent is very high TDS, in that case, all the salts will be separated out. All this effluent will be condensed. It will be evaporated and the water will be condensed. And whatever the salt comes out, so that salt will be basically a cake sort of form. It comes out, and that is nothing but it is high TDS effluent. So ME is used for high TDS, and for ammonia removal, it's a stripping technology is used basically.
Sure, sure.
Uh,
Thanks, Ganesh.
I'm repeating Mr. Shmuel's question. What impacts of CETP method on poor and low socio-economic groups of population? What are the impacts?
So the impact is just environmental as such, for low socioeconomic. I don't think they're direct. The thing is, the effluent does not differentiate between social status, and it affects each and everyone, even the kids of the industries, which are releasing effluent into the water, it affects even their kids too. So the socio-economic conditions, I don't think, has any effect on this.
Got it. Mr. Radhe, would you like to ask your question? Unmute yourself and ask.
Namaste, sir. Namaste, Prasanna, sir. Namaste, Shivani, ma'am. So, my question is related to how dyeing industry can establish CETP and what is the cost of CETP, as dyeing industry has mostly liquid or fluid effluents are produced.
Sure. So the thing is, Radhe, I'm not exactly sure about specific CETPs in dyeing industries, but there are multiple CETPs running in Trichur, West Bengal, specific to the dyeing industry. I don't know the exact process on how the treatment process there, but to set up a CETP, it is a bit expensive. Say, for example, to set up a 2 MLD plant, it's about, say, around 25 crores as of now. So you can multiply based upon that.
Mr. Mukuthu, you're online. If you're still, could you answer that? Because you're from Tirupur and you handle. If you're online, would you like to raise your hands, unmute, and to answer this question? Mukuthan Sankar. Okay. All right. We'll wait for him to respond if he's still online. Mr. Surupneni, would you like to ask your question? We'll get back to you, Radhe, on this particular thing. We'll mail you.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Prasanna Garu, as an overview, it was good, whatever you have told us. And I've seen that many in this group are very learned and experienced, technically very experienced, competent. So, why can't we have a common effluent treatment plant zone-wise, let's say in our own Hyderabad city? Why are we so reactive? Why are we not proactive? For example, today, the government is insisting on, let's say, rainwater harvesting, solar panels. We won't give permission without anything. So this kind of thinking is good. But in the case of sewage treatment, it's very unfortunate that many of the gated communities are discharging effluent into the stormwaters or even the sewage system untreated. There's nobody can monitor that. So when even in let's say high-tech city where I live, when we have the vision to create high-tech city, I'm not blaming anybody in particular, but nobody even thought of insisting, why can't we have a common effluent treatment plant? Not necessarily industries. The industries, the gated communities, the domestic households, all those people's, the sewage being coming out could have been channelized into a common effluent treatment plant, and they could have collected some cess or whatever you call it. And let me also tell you, without naming the communities, the basic design of the STP itself is faulty. It is not that they have done it intentionally or unintentionally, but thing is, like for example, the very primary chamber in which into the first stage of settlement takes place, that itself has not been designed to the capacity. And afterwards, you have say 300 households, you're designing something of a capacity of say one third of that, and you are not able to recollect the situation later on for want of space. And then we, for example, in many cases, we try to upgrade it by using membrane technology and all, but that is of no avail. So I think by making this point to everybody here, because at the inception stage itself, at least now with your experience, you should all um, give your suggestions to the government to take such things into consideration and go for a zone-wise kind of a treatment plants where even better monitoring could be done. That's one thing. And secondly, yes, some people, yes, I can tell very confidently for the sake of, with pride, because I am from Hyderabad. We have got somebody in Hyderabad, from one Mr. GKB Chowdhury, chairman of Vasant Chemicals, who is responsible for starting the first common effluent treatment plant in India. Okay, I mean, you can correct me if it's not the first one, but I know very well it's something of a certain scale, which has really been appreciated at not only national level, international level. It is in Jidimetla. Since you're not mentioned that, you mentioned Ramki and all, I thought, let me also mention that. It's a common effluent treatment plant, and he had the vision of doing this not now. It's more than a decade back. And it is on the whatever you mentioned, it is on the first polluter pay principle, which was, I think, mooted somewhere in Rio conference or wherever. He has implemented that.
Right, yeah.
And he also conducted a seminar, I believe, which was attended by our great Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam himself. A seminar where almost 400 people participated, not only across the country, many people came just to be aware about the whole thing, and create that kind of thing. So activated sludge process, whatever it is. And one more thing is, maybe you start off with what you call activated sludge process, but then another beauty is he kept on upgrading it as well. I have not visited the plant. I would like to, but just I thought I just wanted to share my thoughts on this, and I request you to do something about all this by taking it up at the highest level. Because we are already, our society is in a very, bad state of affairs. I'm not talking about I'm talking nation as such. We always try to react and take steps which become very, very expensive later on. So I think the time has, yeah, that's it. Thank you.
There's something I would like to share with you.
Yeah, thank you.
Remember, you participated in the first workshop, and then we created the different verticals.
Yes.
Now in this vertical on industry, when I can see there is the textile industry, there is the pharmaceutical industry, there's the chemical and petrochemical industry, food and beverage industry, metal finishing industries, paper industry, tanneries, dyeing and painting industries. Now it will be great if we as a team, all the people who are participating, if we can get speakers who are experts in these individual industries, or who can talk about these individual industries, the type of toxicity that is coming out, the quantity that is coming out in India, and how it is being treated, and what are the regulations. It will be great. So it'll be great if you can participate and find us people who can talk specifically about this.
Sure, ma'am. It's a good. It will be very good collaboration. Yes. And in fact, let me thank you for choosing the topic, and Prasanna Garu has certainly given a wonderful overview. In fact, obviously, it's very thought-provoking. Otherwise, you wouldn't be talking and be so participative. Thank you so much. Yeah, sure.
Thanks, everyone, Prasanna Garu. And just to add to that, there are 3 CETPs in Hyderabad, and one is the JETL, which you're talking about, Jidimetla. There's the Patancheru CETP, and there's the Mana CETP. So these are the active CETPs in Hyderabad as of now.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, this question again is from Radhe. What is the minimum cost to establish a CETP?
It's around 20 to 25 crores as of now. A 2 MLD plant.
A 2
MLD, million liters per day capacity plant.
25 crores?
20 to 25 crores, yeah.
And what is the largest size in India?
I'm not sure. Normally, the CETPs are below 5 mld. Okay, there are some CETPs around 10 mld too. But the government gives a lot of subsidies for these. And they give land there, so that brings down the cost a little bit. The subsidy and land costs.
Okay. In across India, any idea how many are there?
About 190 from what I know.
Okay. And I found that again, Radhe, same another question he has, and I found that only 42% is only working. We need more. Why is the government not making more, and what is stopping them?
Yeah, that's for the government to answer.
We'll try to get a government representative next time as a speaker from the pollution board. I've already made a request. Let's hope they'll accept and join us as a speaker. Okay, this is from Agnita. I'm working in meat factory in ETP plant, and here there is more odor. How to control the odor? We are adding EM culture to the effluent. Does it reduce the odor?
So I'm not that technical as to the specific industry, but I have experts who can answer it. I can get the answers for that. I have my technical team who can go into that level of detail.
Please, can you give us the name so that we can pass to this?
Sure. So they are industry experts with 30 years experience in JATL and other things. I can get that answer.
Yes. Okay. Next question is, would you like to raise your, Mr. Prasad Jaladi, would you like to unmute yourself and ask?
Hi, Prasanna. Nice talk.
So
Incidentally, I have a question. I would ask that a little bit. Incidentally, I was in the JATL inauguration day when it was started long back, I guess, in late 1980s, through one company called Kemina. Murli KDV was the managing director for that. So my question is, you talked about organic enzymes in the initial treatment process. I'm curious whether the process is sufficient at that point of time. Are you having the cascaded treatments of enzymes later on, during the treatment plan, or even at the end of the treatment?
Yeah, the thing is, it's not a one solution fits everything, Prasad Garu. Basically, what happens is so we have the input and output parameters, right? So based upon the parameters, we change the enzymes too. So because there might be certain effluent which does not work with the enzymes we are providing. So based on that, we enhance and change, and we do a lot of R&D on that. Our technical team it does, and make sure the output parameters match what is required.
Thank you.
This is from a guest. Is there no compulsion for municipality to have treatment plants to process the municipal waste? In our city, there is no treatment plants for municipal waste?
I don't think so. I don't think it's a compulsion in but I think municipalities are coming up with treatment plants as of now. But there are a lot of the thing is it's all about planning. With the old planning, I don't think it's possible to have treatment plan because there's no proper place where all the discharge is going to go and it's going to be treated. But all the new communities which are coming up, or the new parts of the cities which are being developed, okay, they are being planned with some treatment plants in there.
May I jump in for a quick comment on this?
Yeah, sure, brother.
Thank you. This is a great question, Srivani garu. In fact, this is a global problem. The statistics say not even 80% of the cities today in all over the world are not treating the municipal effluents, municipal waste. So that is the tragedy situation. So I believe this is a design thinking problem in this modern age. even the communities can create their own effluent treatment plant. Sometimes I wonder, many of our folks, friends, family members, including ministers, chief ministers, and presidents and prime ministers of this country are everywhere, are visiting West. They know all these things, and I have no idea why they are not creating that kind of planning system into our urban development. This is what I think Prasad Garu also pointed out a while back. So this is the biggest problem. We build something and look after the waste treatment. That's a tragedy. Sorry. Thank you.
So when you say municipal treatment plants, are you talking about the municipal solid waste that comes out of the homes, or are you talking about what's coming out of other industries around the city?
No, this is only
about the STPs.
Yeah, this is only from household. Everything that starts from home to and end up as a municipal waste, both solid and liquid waste.
So we've had many talks on this topic. Hyderabad probably is generating anywhere between 15,000 plus million tons of per day. And yes, Ramki has around, I'm not sure, maybe 5 or 10, 9,000 tons. The problem is if every single household segregates their waste, we can cut down 40% of the wet waste and make it into compost in their own individual homes or communities, thereby sending lesser waste to the treatment plants. Again, if part of it, again, another 30% of it is recycled, we can further cut it down. If every individual, if every household, if every community takes the responsibility, yes, it is possible to cut down the amount of waste that's coming out to 10%. It is a doable thing. And it is with this intention that Vishwa is working on this particular topic. And we would like to make Hyderabad a model city in telling people, yes, this is possible. The amount of waste coming out of our homes has to be cut at home. Yeah, this is what we are working towards. Yes.
That's a great initiative, Srivani Garu. I also involved in city sustainability activities in Austin, Texas. So if you need any ideas, I'll be happy to share some. In fact, we are dealing with the restaurant waste, so on and so forth.
Fantastic.
That would be a good segue. Thank you.
Prasad, in my community in Hyderabad, okay, we have a very active STP and we recycle that water for gardening. And so it is maintained properly, and and the discharges is within the limits, because in the garden, right? So we can, if it's not right, we can feel the smell there.
Great that you made your community as a role model, and I appreciate your leadership on that front also. We all have to do this thing, we have to learn from each other on this thing. That's a great thing, and it has to be put out through this kind of meetings, and also let's talk about this more quite frequently. Beyond our circles. Otherwise, we are talking to ourselves mostly. So that's one hindrance I see time in and time out in any metro city that I travel.
Yeah, sure. Okay, next question is from Naveep Singh Apta Mitra. In Delhi, garbage dumps are being set on fire almost every day, causing severe pollution. On top of that, smoke from factories adds to the problem, making it difficult for people to even breathe in the city. If things continue like this, the day is not far when we will have to carry oxygen cylinders on our back just to survive. We must put an end to the rising pollution. The government needs to take strong action immediately. This is more a statement.
Sure. So for the waste in Delhi, as well as the pollution from Haryana, which is coming out to Delhi, I think they can set up these power generation units, which where waste can generate power. There are a lot of examples where China is doing this very successfully. Europe is doing this very successfully. It's time government works on that and get it done.
Yeah. Mr. Anand Sagar, would you like to ask your question? We'd like you to come on video and ask.
And I will share to one thing, sir. If is government also initiate the 20 companies are like that, they will set up the one CETP. Better to some of the companies, 1 or 2 companies, they will initiate the ATFTs and like the small plant CETPs are. I think in 100% they will run the plants and these castways and everything. But is the government they will give to the initiator, they will give to the some subsidies and this 20 or 30 industries areas they will set up to the CETP plant. It is the better go for the processing this waste tree effluent or low TDS or high TDS. What is the better in my suggestion, ma'am?
Okay, you're making a statement.
Yeah.
All right. There is another question from Mr. Balaji. What do you mean by 2 MLD? And what are some organic methods to reduce odor in effluent?
So 2 MLD is 2 million liters per day. So that's the capacity so which the treatment plant can handle. So in inflow of 2 million liters of effluent per day, it can be treated.
Okay. His second question is on odor.
So odor, right? So there are depends upon the thing is that that's a huge subject. Depending upon the gases which come out, there are different ways of treating them. So I can't be unless there's a specific thing and I can specifically answer that. But I can get a list of what chemicals are used for which gases. I can get that list for you.
Is there any organic method?
For odor, no, not that I know of.
Okay. Next question. There are a lot of acknowledgements. Mr. Nagjoti said thank you so much. So Mr. A guest has said it's a great presentation. I am Shangari T, studying MSc Environmental Sciences. He has a question. I'm interested in doing my PhD related to wastewater treatment. What should I do now, sir?
I think I see Swami Garu in the audience. I think he can guide you better. He's the expert in waste management.
Who and can you tell us?
Swami Garu.
Okay.
I see Subramanya Prasad Garu mentioning Narayan Swami Garu from JETL.
He has to raise his hands for us
Yeah, there is Swami Garu there.
He has to please unmute Pratyusha if you can see him. Unmute him.
Yeah, sorry, just I want to say, I realized that Mr. Narayan Swami Garu from JETL has joined because after sending the link to Chaudhary Garu. So, sir, if you want to speak up, you may kindly. That's all. Feel free.
Thank you very much. Sir, as you said, the JETL is the first and best CETP in India, no doubt about it. Now we are into the stage of zero liquid discharge. Already partially we are sending the RO permit water, recycled water, I can say, to the member industries. So they are utilizing for boilers and other secondary purposes. Now we are at the stage of 100%. 100% total we are recycling and sending back to the industries. It is the process. We are marketing to the permit water. So already the market is coming up, and after getting the full flood, then we are totally into that ZLD processor. The total infrastructure, everything is set up. So recently we have invested 43 crores towards this project and completed successfully and running it, sir. So this is the best opportunity anybody can see and witness the recycled water. So we are conserving the natural resources and saving the environment. That's it.
What is the approximate million liters per day that's coming out in Hyderabad?
Madam, Hyderabad, I don't know. So for Hyderabad, HMWS, SB, STP is there. Hyderabad Metro Water Works and Sewerage Board. So STP is there, Amberpet. So they are doing it. I think it is 360 to 400 MLD, if I am correct. So whereas we are getting 1.5 MLD wastewater. We have two kinds of treatment plants. One is the LTDS, the other one is the HTDS. So both put together. See, right now we are getting 120 tankers. That is 1,200. 300 KL is the high TDS. So both put together 1.5 million. So 1,500 KL that we are treating it successfully. So that is the stage, madam.
So just a second. One
Sir.
thing I think rather you should take pride in mentioning that with least government support,
Sir.
you have been a wonderful example of collaboration. The industries of Unimetla, small and medium, got together and made it a success story, right?
Yes.
I don't think got any funds and all from government. You did it on your own.
No, sir. The fund is there. That 70% fund is there. The remaining rest, the 30% is by the member industries.
Right from day one, you mean? Right at the
No,
starting stage itself.
starting stage is the CETP concept. The land given by the state government, land. The remaining central government fund towards the enhancement and the procurement of the instruments and other machinery like ME, ETFD, like that. We have got the funds. Recently also we got the 20 crores money from the DOP, Department of Pharmaceuticals.
Okay. So nice to see, sir, that how that maybe we can call it as one of the examples, best examples of the country of industry and government working together in. I'm sure Mr. Prasanna also will acknowledge.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
That
Very nice, sir. Excellent presentations given.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sriwani garu, just to let you know, we take advice from Swami garu also in case. So I know him personally.
Only interactions, sir. That's it.
You should
Welcome,
ask
sir.
a couple of questions, Andy, so that everybody gets to know. Prasanna garu, you should ask Swami garu a couple of questions.
No, so Swami garu, we are planning to set up a ZLE plant, Andy, so we need your input on that.
Yeah, definitely, sir. There is no option in future. Everybody switch over to this ZL option only. Otherwise, it is very difficult to sustain. In summer, we don't get the water. The recycled water only the source for the other industries, for boilers and other secondary purposes. This is only the option in future.
So, and one more good news is that, right, recently, previously, right, if you want to set up a ZLE plant or a CETP, we need clearance from the EC from the ministry. As of now, they waived that. If you want to set up a ZLE plant, we don't need an EC from the ministry. So,
yeah, yes, sir. Recently,
EC is environmental clearance. We don't need that.
See, recent directions, there is no requirement of any EC for the CETPs.
Yeah, which makes it a little bit easier.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Some powers are also given by the CPCB to CETP. So we have a right to inspect any industry and verify the compliance also. That is also there.
Sir, there is a question. I'm interested in doing my PhD related to wastewater treatment. What should I do now? Would you like to answer that?
Madam, actually, it has to come from their HOD or principal or institution. So put a letter to the organization so that depending upon their interest and the availability of this, whether they are interested in the laboratory or field like that, the divisions will be there. Basing on that, we will award the project.
Who awards these projects?
So we will award the project. So they have to get the certification or letter from their reputed organization or institutions.
When you say what do you mean?
Letter from our institution.
We will award the project. What do you mean?
Yeah, we'll award the means we'll allocate the work.
Which organization?
In the treatment plant, so in our site.
Okay. This is from Anand Kunte. Prasannaji, I feel challenges in CETP is monitoring and maintaining inlet parameters. Crucial parameters is ammonical nitrogen, heavy metals, and BOD to COD ratio. Recycling and reuse of CETP effluent is nowadays required and being enforced by regulatory authority. I agree to Prasannaji that tanker system is better to control and properly operate the CETP vis-a-vis the effluent drainage system.
Yeah. So once the tanker comes around, we have a lab and where we test all these parameters before accepting that.
Okay. I want to try asking another question via mic for see if he can understand. Shmuel, you will need to raise your question if you are there. I think I've pretty much covered all the questions. Yeah, there's a lot of acknowledgements. Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable insights of CETP. It's really great to brush up the concepts to ago. I worked with CPCB projects. There is one from Rahul C. Multi-effect evaporator costs can be prohibitive in CAPEX, OPEX, and operational challenges. Can you list down some upcoming non-conventional technologies to tackle these challenges? This key reason for difficulties in compliance.
Is that a question you want to get? Yeah, okay. So ME definitely is expensive, okay, but as long as you have sufficient effluent and it can be planned properly, we can get back our capex on that. And there are different technologies in ME which are coming up. We have a vacuum evaporator technology which comes up. So recently, we went to Pune to look at ZLD plant, which is using a heat exchange technology, and which they say the cost of operation is 25% of what it is right now for an ME plant. So we are exploring that and trying to see if we can use that here. But I think capex is definitely an issue, but there are new technologies which are coming up, which are less capital intensive.
Yeah, okay. Yes, would you like to ask your question, ma'am?
Actually, myself, Nagjoti Bollaprada, I am from Andhra Pradesh, but we are living in Sangli, Maharashtra. So I would like to talk to you, Dr. B. Subbarao. He is very well known. And 1967, since 1967, he is working with the environment. And when there was no pollution at that time, he is initiated the pollution may come, and he has taken many workshops, and he is well known in the ministry, and he is dealing with the environment impact assessment reports, EC, for the industries related to the synthetic organic sugar industry, distillery industry, and he is, having the accreditation. We are having environmental laboratory for the analysis, NAPL accredited as well as NABET accredited. So I just want him to just communicate, because he is not even designed all ETPs, but many industries he actually still guiding. His age is 88.
Nice.
Do give us his contact, ma'am. We'll write.
I will.
Okay.
Hi, sir.
Sir, I think it is out of the topic which you are discussing, but it would be interesting if you enlighten us on one issue. See, in fermentation industries, carbon dioxide is being trapped, but the collection and the marketing of CO2 is very difficult. One of the industries which we are facing is a distillery industry, fermentation industry, in which a lot of carbon dioxide is produced. But it is not economical to trap it and also to dispose it of. So the industry faces a lot of problems. Only recently, what I was thinking is that if we can collect this carbon dioxide, purify it to an extent which could be fed for green belt development, that is for the photosynthesis. Probably it may be possible to get some carbon credits also out of this venture. So could you enlighten us on this, the carbon dioxide, whether it could be trapped and purified and used for the green belt development or maybe agricultural activity, so that it is likely that they may also get some carbon credit.
So, sir, so I will talk initially and let Swamigar add to that. So from the CETPs which I see right now, collecting carbon dioxide, I don't think there's a way to do that right now. I'm not sure if new technologies emerge. Swamgaru, can you please add to that?
Sir, the potential, we have to analyze the potential in the laboratory level. Basing on that, we can take up into the field level, sir. So we have to study in the laboratory level, then you have to go for the pilot, then you have to see the feasibility. So basing on that only, it is possible. Without that, it's not correct.
May I take a stab on this?
As on today, some of the industries are collecting the CO2, purifying it and bottling it and selling it. But it's not economical to do so if there is no much demand, because most of these fermentation industries are situated little far away from the cities, where the demand is also very low. I should say nominal. So disposal of, even though they spend for the collection and treatment of this CO2 and bottle it, or maybe use in the ice factories, etc. But the demand is very little. So then what I'm thinking is whether we could use this carbon dioxide for renewable development, maybe forest development, any sort of agricultural activity, which is likely to generate some refund, some what you call funds from the carbon credits as carbon credits. Do you agree, or what is your technical?
So I think, Subbaragaru, what you are proposing might be specific to a specific industry at the industry level, okay, rather than at ETP level, because by the time things come to the ETP, right? So CO2 is already, I don't think there's much CO2 left in that effluent. I think at the industry level, say for example, if you are talking about the bread industry, right? So I think it got to be collected at that point, not at the ETP level. Am I right, Swamgaru?
Exactly correct. So to explore at the particular industry level and see that the economics. That's
Oh yes, of course, the cost economics has to be worked out.
yes.
Carbon credits could be obtained by this.
Understood.
Subbaragaru, do you want to add anything else?
No, this is only one question which I want to ask.
What is happening with the carbon credits in India? How is it moving?
No, it's picking up, you see, especially in the agricultural side, the carbon credits are going on quite well. And many consultants have come into this field. I think it's a growing field, I guess.
Okay.
So I think, Adani and Reliance are coming into carbon credit, so it should be lucrative.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. And even I am also interested as a PhD candidate. So please, if possible, share the contact details. So I'm a master's in environment engineer. So I would like to, go ahead with this. Thank you, Prasanna ji and everyone, and great session. And would like to continue all the time. I will try to attend all the meetings. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Michael. Thank you.
So I've missed out on talking. With this, we'll close the question. There's one last question and answer from Mr. Kamla Lochan Biswal, please. Prasad Garu, do you want to say something?
Yeah, actually, I want to have an allied answer for Subbarao Garu. So, depending on the quality of the carbon dioxide he can produce, he can use that carbon dioxide in some technologies. Personally, I involved in some algal technologies where we are angling at sustainable aviation fluid, aviation fuel, so on and so forth. So in US, the fossil fuel cost, I mean, I shouldn't say fossil fuel, the cost of gas, I mean, the petrol or other things are at par with the fossil fuel cost nowadays. So this is where he can align with such companies who are developing. Of course, Reliance is the best bet for them. They are sitting on the fence, as I know. That's one way to look at those things. Of course, we can do a lot of research also leveraging carbon dioxide to grow algae, etc. So I personally involved in such technologies of that sort. So if there is any help we can do a collaborative work, I will be happy to work on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Please ask your question.
Certainly, we will be in touch with you, sir.
Yeah. And Subbarao sir's contact detail in email ID I have actually given in the chat as well as mine. I'm a daughter-in-law of Dr. B. Subbarao, and I'm working with him in the same organization. And I'm also accredited as a FAE and AI coordinator, as well as a laboratory. I'm looking after environmental laboratory with multiple scope like water, wastewater, soil, compost, air, and noise, and all. So earlier we were even ministry approval also we were having. Thank you so much, and really would like to connect. And still we are with our policy of with the no commercialization but technical aspects point of view very much interested.
Sure, thank you.
Thanks, ma'am.
So Kamla Lochin, would you like to ask a question?
Yes, madam. Good day, madam. Actually, I have some doubt. Already, I'm working ETP and FTP and UF and RO. There are one problem. Sometimes I face the RO permit water is pH is very down. So that's many problem to utility and boiler. So can I give you some suggestion?
Sorry, Kamla, I didn't understand your question. But
our RO permit water is pH value is very low.
sorry, your voice is it's not audible properly, Kamla. So are you able to understand the question?
Can you repeat your question, please?
Sure. Our RO permit water pH level is very low. RO permit water.
Which industry are you in?
Industry wastewater.
Wastewater. Okay.
After wastewater to treated water after ultrafiltration, next process reverse osmosis, RO process. RO process after permit water, so pH is very low.
Right.
I'll answer. Sir, I'll answer.
Yes, please.
Yeah, madam. Hello.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
See, based on the input to pH only, the output pH will vary. So you can control the pH at the inlet itself so that you will get the neutral pH. That is simple. Simple answer.
Sure. Thank you, sir.
Clear? Hello.
Does it answer you, Mr. Kamla Biswal?
Yes,
you can
madam.
control the inlet pH so that you will get the correct pH. You can check your inlet pH. It may be less than 7.5 or something. So you can control the inlet pH.
Yes, inlet pH 7.35, 7.45. That's like.
Yeah, you can little bit increase so that you can permit will get the correct pH, 6 pH. Right?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir. Right, sir. I have something doubt. There are a culture. Can I something I will add the culture in aeration tank. There will microorganism increase or decrease.
See, actually, culture is not the correct method. Actually, you have to generate your culture in the reactor itself. So you can get the mass from any outside well-established reactor and add into your system so that it will be generated and improve the culture. The cultures are not only improve this mass, it will also reduce the concentration of the COD and BOD levels also.
Thank you, sir.
Ramchandra Garu, please ask your question. This will be a
I have a
last
request. Yeah, I have a request through this platform to Prasanna as well as Dr. Swami. I have a YouTube channel called Manav Lokam. I cover several stories on sustainability, circularity, safe food, and things like that. The water is one of my core interests. So I request both Prasanna and Swami Garu if we can make a short film and publish it on my YouTube channel. The experiences of treating wastewater and making it useful. Please request you to share your contact numbers. I'll be in touch with Srivani Garu. I'll be talking to you later sometime. If it is agreeable, I would like to make a film on your experiences.
Sure, and we can do that, not a problem.
Yeah. Thanks very much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Srivani Garu. I'll be chasing you for the contact numbers of these two resource people.
Sure. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, Andy. With this, thank you so much. Thank you, Prasanna Garu. Thank you, Swami Garu. Thank you, Prasad Garu. And thank you to all the participants who've made this a very interactive session and made it more as something that, as citizens of our country, we're sitting together, talking, looking at something that is important and which is we are at a tipping point on environment in our society now, in our environment now, and we need to take action. It's really good that more than 100 people have joined in this conversation. Once again, thank you, Prasanna Garu, so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Andy.
Yeah. Thank you to all the audience once again, and thank you to the Vishwa team for a wonderful session. With this, I close the session. I have also requested another Mr. Prasanna from the State Pollution Control Board to come and talk so that, we get different perspectives on the same issue.
Sure.
Please, all of you all do join and share it with your friends and family.
Sure.
And people
Thanks,
who are interested
you.
in this topic. Please join. You'll get a break session. Please join.
Okay, sure.